4, 3, 2, 1. A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Well, thank you, Grandalf. So it's
Grandalf, eh? My goodness.
Gandalf. Oh, I'm sorry, my mouth is cold. I've just had a fab, so FAB brains. Great to see you. I hope I find you well. It's Monday. It's 7 o'clock in the evening, and that can mean only one thing. We're here for the Monday Club. We've got Topsy Toaster, we've got Gandalf, we've got the Cupboard Monkey stuffing a face with a nice lollipop.
It's fab.
Oh yeah, it's been very, very hot today. And coming up on today's show, we have got Graeme Muspratt from Kernow Model Rail Centre on to talk about all things trains. He is, of course, the guru of all things Southern. What he doesn't know about the Southern Region or Southern Railway really isn't worth knowing. And he's the man behind an awful lot of Kernow Model Rail Centre's exclusives and such like. And it's going to be really great to speak to him. But wait, there's more. He's also involved in the General Steam Navigation Restoration Society, which has, what some might say, a very ambitious objective to unrebuild a rebuilt Bullion Pacific, which you might think that's a peculiar thing to do, but of course there's special circumstances. This particular locomotive lost its crank axle, and it puts them in the position where restoring it in unrebuilt condition is actually about the same cost as restoring it in its rebuilt condition. So it'll be an interesting project to recreate this behemoth as it was when built, with all of those very, very novel bullion innovations in the locomotive. So it'd be great to have Graeme on, and we'll be having a chat about all manner of things. We'll be getting him in at about 15 minutes past.
But before we do that...
Roll VT?
Oh, yes.
Okay, where's the button?
Grunk it!
Hit the lever!
Welcome to the Monday Club, your online model rail club for all the news, gossip, layout tours and more, with your host, broadcaster and model maker, Jennifer Kirk. The Monday Club is proudly sponsored by TMC, the Model Centre. Check them out at themodelcentre.com. The website features extensive stocks of new models as well as selective pre-owned items where you can track down that bargain you've always wanted. Pre-order with confidence all of the forthcoming models from all the manufacturers. TMC also offer a renumbering and renaming service so you can get the exact identity of locomotive that you want. Why not also check out their value weathering, or go for something incredibly special with their bespoke service where you can choose from a more extensive weathered look right through to custom graffiti either off the peg or to a design of your choice. Check out TMC today at themodelcentre.com and start your model journey. Welcome back, great to see you. Hope you are well, and a huge thank you to TMC, the Model Centre, who helped keep the lights on here. So I've actually been looking through their bargain section, so I'm going to highlight some of the bits and pieces. I know everybody loves to grab a bargain, so I'm just going to bring this up on the main screen there. And there's quite a few different bits and pieces. If I can have the mouse, I can scroll through. I've got a few top picks for you. But in the bargain section, there's lots of new bits and pieces have gone in. Some great prices on a few things. The Shunter's Hut as well, actually, that
does look pretty good.
I have that for a moment.
Well, what have you done
I
now?
wish to adjust ye.
Adjust the set.
Okay.
Oh, and why am I over there?
I'm going to bring you into here. And
Right. And then what?
Shrink
Maybe
you with the shrink ray.
shrinking
Then
me
shove you back over there.
Oh, okay, right.
There
fair
you
enough.
go.
Yeah, if you give me the.
Because we didn't need you. Who needs Jenny Kirk on the Jenny Kirk shows?
Yeah, whatever. So, one of the first things, actually, I thought this was topical because we've got Graeme Muspratt coming on later on, in about 10 minutes or so. So EFE Rail, I believe he may have had some degree of a hand in this. He's probably sat there now shouting at the screen, "No, that was nothing to do with me." But
I just walked past, but someone else was looking at it.
yeah. But the London South Western Railway 10-ton ventilated vans, they got these in BR Brown, but also SDJR Grey as well, I've seen. Great models. I actually bought a couple when they first came out. And we are going to talk a little bit about EFE Rail as well. I know some of the Kernow Model Centre commissions started out as originally exclusively Kernow Model Centre, have moved over into the EFE Rail range. I know a lot of people got we have questions about EFE Rail, not bad ones, just a good opportunity to find out a little bit more. Now we've also Gronks are definitely something in the news. Now a lot of the new Bachmann releases have settle down Topsy. Gronksy's around. I think Gronksy's gone down visiting family in Sandwich.
Last time I saw him, he was out at the back in the swimming pool.
That's quite shocking. I hope he remembered to unplug himself first.
Oh, he did, yeah, don't worry.
Oh, good. So there was a bit of a debate with the new Bachmann 08. They've done really, really well. I did a video, a nice honest comparison between basically the three major contenders for the 08 market. And the Hornby one does still punch above its weight. And if you're looking for a great deal, actually £109.99 for a Lorem Rail Class 08. This is the Hornby model. It's not the latest release, but the tooling is the tooling. It's DCC ready, super easy to sound fit as well. I've got TXS decoders into these, no issues, along with stay alives and all sorts. So £109.99. Oh, we can spin it round there. That's pretty cool. It's a really great deal. What have we got? Summer Breeze Model Railway, John and Holly says, if possible, could we have a minute's silence at the end of the show in memory of someone who I worked with that was found dead last Wednesday, suspected suicide? I'm so sorry to hear. Yes, I will rely on the cupboard monkey to prompt me near the end. Of course, depression is a really serious thing. And we always say, if you're feeling down, just remember you're not alone. And don't be afraid to talk to anybody. It's not you. It's not your fault. And
no matter what your brain is telling you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, just remember that people care about you. So don't be frightened to seek out help. It's a very, very important issue. And having lost a number of very dear friends to such things, I completely understand and sympathise. But moving back to the bargains at TMC, the Model Centre, final top pick here. This is the Class 70 booster locomotive. I've actually got one just sat there. It'll be on the camera in a moment. But £88.99. That's actually the cheapest I have seen them. There's actually only two available.
52%, bloody hell.
So better than half price. They actually run really, really well. I've got one here. I've been using it quite a bit. And it's really easy. The red buffer beams shouldn't be red. But I actually, in a matter of 30 seconds, painted mine out with... I actually used Humbrol enamel number 96. Was close enough to look okay. Really easy to do, to just paint out the buffer beams. And at £88.99, these locomotives come with quite a few different features in. And they're pre-fitted with a speaker, 21-pin socket. And it does mean that they're incredibly easy to do a sound fit to. if you want to go down the sound route with these. And definitely one option would be a Hornby TXS decoder, 21 pin. And there should be a Class 71 sound file coming out in the coming months, but you can use the Class 73. Just turn the diesel engine off. So those are my top bargain picks. So we're gonna.
There's some nice stuff there. Can I have the controls back now?
Yeah, I'm just gonna close some tabs just to help the computer out.
Thank you.
And to bring the chat up. So big hello to Tenneth and Veloqua. DJK666 says, if you're feeling glum, pop up your thumb. You know, you know.
That's not how it ended in my head.
Did the word bum make
yes.
it?
If you're feeling glum, stick your thumb up your bum.
Sarah Davis says, I like Fuglies too, but it's ugly like the original Fiat Multipla. That's a car only a mother could love. Yeah, what were they thinking?
Rick Morley says, nothing in this silly needs. Phew.
Nick Girolamo says, hello, all good? Absolutely. And Ian White says, hello, all. Sorry, I'm a bit late. Well,
the Monday Clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
So Gandalf is in, and that means that you are never late. You're always perfectly when you meant to arrive. So we've got a really good turnout. Anthony says, use my Jenny Kirk Monday Club badge at TMC Friday. Nice discount. Boom!
I do have something to say before we get our guest on, if you don't mind.
What would you want to say?
Well, it's not what you think. I was going to talk about my
your
suitcase layout idea.
And this actually, if people are wondering about an idea for a portable layout, get yourself down a charity shop and see what small suitcases they've got suitable for this. So I'm over here.
So what we got here is
Casey.
Yeah, just a standard case.
Yeah,
it's a nice suitcase. Bit solid on the walls, which is what made me choose this particular one.
So what about the bottom? Well, the bottom's fairly flexible.
Standard. What I'm going to do is put some hard card down.
Well, I would say, what about cutting a thin piece of plywood?
Thin piece of plywood would work just as nicely. And then I can have a solid base, which lifts up the layout a little bit. But my biggest question to you, Jen, is when I'm looking at layout designs, I want an N-gauge layout in here.
Yeah.
I want it to have a runaround if possible. Do you think I've got the space? My biggest issue,
I think it's going to be tight,
because
but
I've got a train shed here and a station. I don't think I can have both.
I think those buildings might crowd it. Nigel Cole says, always need a firm bottom. And Rick Morley says, does it fit on Ryanair? Yes, but they'll probably charge you extra to
be honest with you, this thing, you could sit on your lap and it could be a carry-on.
Yeah, Peter Jackson Cheadle, he says, I'll hopefully be using my Monday Club badge at the Loughborough show at the weekend.
Fantastic.
At least on the Sawyer model stall. Excellent.
Excellent.
And Miller Watson says, just to add to my post about the books on the LNER west of the Pennines, Ian Allen do a nice one on the Cheshire Lines Committee. Granted, not wholly LNER, but they were Great Central Railway, part of it.
Suitcase trains is a great inspiration for that. You're absolutely right there, Ben. Absolutely. So what I'm thinking is I may take this out and use this on a different layout for the train track. But instead have, if I could, go DCC.
Right, okay.
And have it so that it stops a train at the station.
You
and
could
then runs
do
around,
that.
And then slows down and stops
you
at
could
the
do
station.
that automatically with an ABC section.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Right, but Ian White says, anyone been to Great Eastern Models in Norwich? I'm in the area tomorrow. Might pop in and see if they have anything that tempts me. Well worth a visit. And of course, your Monday Club badge is good for a discount there as well. Don't forget to take it along. And say hello to Anne and the crew at Great Eastern Models. So tell them that they got mentioned on the Monday Club. Right, we're getting ready to bring on our guest for tonight. Graeme Muspratt from Kernow Model Rail Centre, also huge mover and shaker in the hobby and also in railway preservation, one of the almost unsung heroes. I call him the load-bearing boss. Certainly, he's one of the people who really does make things happen. So I'm going to put my cans on so I can hear what's going on. You might want to turn me down just a little bit.
No, that's the main thing. This is the one to turn down.
Okay, rightio. But is that not just you just turned down the microphone rather than my earphones?
Oh, you wanted to turn your phones down there.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to bring...
You just turned them off somehow.
How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay,
right.
So I'm just bringing this up now. It's a little bit shuddery tonight. We're having some issues with the internet in our area.
Oh, what a surprise. Internet issues. So we're just going to...
Here we go.
Oh, that is very loud, can I just say.
Okay, well, I'll turn the speaker down on here. It's fine. Yeah.
So, Graeme, are you there? I can see you.
Hello.
Hello to you. It's great to see you. I hope you are well. Can you see us okay? Are we coming through okay?
I can indeed, yes.
So, Zoe's going to fiddle the centre. And you've also been the man behind an awful lot of the Kernow Model Rail Centre exclusives and such like. So a lot of people have probably got something that you've had a hand in designing on their layout. So it's really, really an absolute honour, sir, to have you on tonight. But how long have you actually been working at Kernow Model Rail Centre now?
So I officially started at Kernow during the first lockdown in 2020, but I've been helping Chris and the business out with research and so on their exclusive models way back when the very first BT Well tank was being produced back in, 2009, I guess now.
Gosh, I do remember. Yeah, because was that one of the first locomotives that Kernow Model Rail Centre actually had as an exclusive?
So it was the very first sort of retailer locomotive exclusive of any retailer. So, previously Kernow had done, livery exclusives like many have done, and also produced the gate stock. And then the BT Well tank was the very first locomotive. Amazingly, we're now we've gone through, I think, 8 production runs now of that. So for what was basically 3 locomotives left in... left post 1930, it's done pretty well for itself as a model. It's to this day, it's the biggest selling locomotive model that we've actually produced here at Kernow.
Yeah, and certainly it brought with it as well at the time some really great innovations that have started to really make their way into the mainstream. Things like I'm thinking about the really super easy DCC fitting through the smoke box door. And that's something I remember at the time was people were like, what witchcraft is this? And yet it made that DCC fitting process so much easier, particularly for people who may not have been the most confident at undertaking tasks like that. It just made it so accessible. And of course that then went on. We've seen releases through the EFE Rail range as well. In fact, I've got one somewhere on the layout around me. There's a really quite pretty green one going round. So there's been some really quite interesting livery releases from that locomotive. But then KMRC also did there was the 1366 tank. Am I right in thinking that was one? Or was it the 1361?
Yes, that's right. The 1361. It's a Great Western loco. I'm not quite so up on those. But yes, we've done that, and obviously the Adams 02, the Bullied Diesel, and with the last loco that came out under the Kernow brand was the Great Western Steam Rail motor.
Absolutely. We've got a comment here. Hillside Junction says, I met Graeme a few times in the Guildford branch. A proper nice chap. So definitely getting the vote of approval here from people.
I sneak over there occasionally because obviously Kernow Model Rail Centre, we're fairly unique. We've got the 2 bricks and mortar shops, obviously primarily the Kernow branch in Camborne, but about 6-7 years ago we opened the branch in Guildford. So I actually work from what we jokingly call the Chiltern Hills office in Buckinghamshire, but if we put that on your parcels to me, it just confuses the DPD delivery driver because he's expecting to find an office block, not a 600-year-old brick and flint cottage. So I do pop into the Guildford shop every now and again.
Absolutely. We've got another comment here. Eclectic Train says, kudos to KMRC folks on the steam rail motor. That thing is amazing. And actually, again, another model that's somewhere on here, it's whizzing round. I did do a review on that, and it is a very, very highly detailed and impressive model. I know it's GWR. You are the guru of all things Southern. I don't know whether you had a hand in the rail motor, but it is definitely a really, really a superb model.
Yeah, so the cab work hadn't been finished when I officially joined the business, so I picked it up from then. I mean, I'll whisper this: I am kind of proud of the model. My fingers burn every time I touch it, but you know, it came out all right in the end.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's a lot of lighting functions on it as well. Something that was we started to see more and more with the DCC functionality, but it definitely had a lot of different lighting functions on that. It's using the Plux 22 interface to give it more flexibility, I guess, to be able to do all of that.
Well, it's got interior lighting, and obviously we've got the illuminated lamps at each end. So from a lighting perspective, actually, it's relatively simple. We moved to the Plux 22 decoder at the time, primarily because we were obviously offering a sound fitted version where we work very closely with our friends at UChoose, and the Plux 22 decoder just gave us a little bit of extra memory to be able to put a more comprehensive sound file on there. So so with the model, for example, you got depending on which model you chose, you got a set of pre-printed destination boards that were correct for where that number of steam rail motor was allocated at the time it was in the livery.
Right.
So there is a whole host of actual destination boards across the 5 livery versions that we did. And actually, if you go into the sound file, you can actually select any one of those destinations being read out by a guard. To be if you change your CV values, you can have that on an F button. So it gave us that extra flexibility with the sound file more than actually the lighting.
And so I presume that's common with the Plux 22 being a slightly bigger decoder, gives you that extra room for memory that allows things like that.
Yeah, as it's a newer decoder, so every time a new decoder comes out, it's got more functionality, more memory space, and more capability, basically.
I mean, is the Plux interface? Do you see that becoming the dominant interface in the UK?
It depends on the size of the model to a certain extent. So Next 18 for engaging your smaller models. There is the sort of Next 24 starting to crop up certainly within Engage. Personally, I'm still a bit of a DC Luddite myself in my own modelling, so don't get too technical on DCC. I'll bow down to others on that score.
Of course, yeah, because you've also had a really great career as a modeller too, with Canute Road. There's been on the exhibition circuit at the moment. Some amazing modelling work on there, and I'm actually even more impressed now. You're saying it's completely DC. That you're able to operate it effectively without the benefit of things like stay alives and such like it. It's testament to the track work.
At the end of the day, stay alives, if you've got clean track and clean wheels, electrofog points, no need for a stay alive, certainly on DC. That's the only trick I use. Clean track, clean wheels, and that's it. If you've got DCC sound on a locomotive, then it is obviously more noticeable if you get that slight blip in power that a stay alive will cope for. But generally, if the pickups are right and clean, and the wheel and the track is clean, that's my secret with my layout. So so Canute Road Quay is I've been exhibiting it the last 2 weekends. In fact, it was in Bexhill last Saturday. Then we did 3 days on the trot in Derby at the Greatest Gathering with it as well, which was an excellent event all round. So I'm out there with the layout, sat in front of it, happy to chat to anybody that comes up and says hello. And prior to that, I had Fisherton Sarum based on Salisbury MPD, which it's in stasis at the moment. I do hope to at some stage bring that back. Just because it's a slightly larger layout, I can show off more of my Southern rolling stock.
Yeah, And also, people will recognise you at a lot of shows. You're quite often on the KMRC stand as well. So you must see a lot of shows up and down the country, and certainly at places like Warnerley. I've seen you on the stand a lot as well. And it's a great opportunity for people to come up and get right up in their elbows in all this stuff that you have on there. It's still a very much a sales-led stand with a lot of the special commissions and such like on there as well.
Yeah, very much so. And we're fairly unusual as a retailer in the fact that we only deal with brand new models. We don't do second-hand models at all. So everything you see on our stand or in our shops is all latest models and brand new.
I mean, how do you find the market in that respect? Is it still very healthy? I know we see a lot of stories, people usually banging on about price, but say, oh, it's going to be the death of the hobby, people can't afford this. But, you know, obviously you've seen under the bonnet the nuts and bolts. How buoyant is the hobby for those retailers selling brand new stuff?
Well, if you go back through the Railway Modeller magazine decade after decade, back to the 1950s, you'll get the same letters page with people saying the hobby's full of old people, it's dying out, it's too expensive, and it just repeats itself. Yes, there was this huge boost to the hobby during COVID. Everybody realized we're stuck at home, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
But you know, and sales figures levels have come down sort of back to almost normal as such.
Yeah.
What I will always say to people about price is that, you know, take a Bachmann Class 37 or a Class 47. You know, they produce it in 3 different versions, whether that's DCC Ready, Sound, Super Deluxe, which is the version we sell out of first. It's the Super Deluxe.
Yeah.
The money is still there, but actually, you know, I'm chairman of my local model railway club here in High Wycombe. We have a thriving junior section. You know, you don't have to go out and buy the very latest version of a particular model. You know, there are plenty of older versions of, you know, whether it's a Class 37 or whether it's an 08 shunter, that actually, if you stand back 3 feet away, you know, you can't necessarily see the difference. It doesn't have to be an expensive hobby. You know, and we've got pages and pages. There's about 100 and something bargains at the moment on our website at 40% off or more. So, you know, if you shop around and you look at the bargain pages, particularly on our obviously on Kernow's site, you'll see brand new models at, you know, some really good prices. You know, you pointed out a few on TMC's site.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are bargains to be had even in the new models.
Absolutely, yeah. And I always say to people that, you know, that the bargains are there if you look for them, and there's some amazing deals even now. And I think it's a case of, you know, if you're prepared to be a little bit more flexible, perhaps, and not having. So, Shane, we had a really good
Okay, I
conversation.
think it's going.
So I don't know. We'll have to wait a moment for people in the chat to say if it's reconnected.
Let me.
So
Yeah, we're back.
So we're back. Well,
So it wasn't actually
back. I can
YouTube,
see
it was
myself.
Obs. Obs had crashed but not told us.
Oh, right, so we're back. We're here with Graeme Muspratt. Sorry about the little dropout there. I don't think we lost too much before we realised that we dropped offline. But I was just about to ask you about EFE Rail, because this is an area I think a lot of people. EFE Rail sort of turned up out of nowhere, but it some of the models which had previously been KMRC exclusives had a rerun that was then under the EFE Rail brand. So just wondering how does the EFE Rail brand actually work and sit under the Bachmann umbrella?
Okay, so let me explain. Well, first off, I'll start off by saying what EFE Rail isn't. Okay, EFE Rail is not a company. It's not a manufacturer. You know, it's not Kernow. It's not me. All right. So EFE Rail essentially is a brand within Bachmann Europe's portfolio. So they have many brands, whether it's some of their plastic kit brands, their tool brands, distribution for Woodland Scenics and so on. And it's a route for them, if they're like a supply chain or a channel for Bachmann Europe to distribute products designed produced and managed by third-party factories and companies such as us at Kernow, that are not produced in-house by Bachmann stroke their parent company, Cada. So a Bachmann branch line model, a Graham Farish model is produced in-house through Bachmann's standard parent company supply chain at Cada. And EFE Rail, so EFE name came from the fact that Bachmann Europe purchased exclusive first editions, the die-cast bus and vehicle manufacturer, some time ago. Now all those models are produced in a different factory to Cada, for example. So that's already a third-party factory that they're dealing with. And what the brand does is it gives Bachmann Europe an opportunity to obtain product from other sources without them themselves dealing with other factories in China. And at the end of the day, it gives them more product to sell through their 500 plus retailers. It gives the retailers chance to sell more product to you, the customers, who have got more product to choose from. So it's a bit of a win-win-win for everybody. We at Kernow realized that actually this could be very beneficial to us, because contrary to what a lot of people think, there is a huge amount of railway modelers out there that are not on the internet. They don't use social media, certainly don't use Facebook. They don't participate or even have heard of web forums. And a lot of them don't even buy a monthly model railway magazine. So the first time that they might see a new model that's been released is when they go into their local bricks and mortar shop and see it on the shelf for the first time. So, it gives Bachmann an opportunity to put more product out there to people. And, and the same rule about that section of the market is that, we at Kernow, yes, we've got a website and we've got 2 shops, Camborne and Guildford, but there are still railway modelers out there that probably haven't heard of Kernow Model Rail Centre, and if they're based in Lancashire or wherever, why would they? So if we produce a model under our own brand, then we can sell it online on our website and through our 2 shops. And in theory, we're not actually putting that model out to the entire model railway market. So for us, it means that we can produce a model, we can perhaps rerun existing tooling, put it in an EFE Rail box, and it goes out to a much wider audience. Our factories are happy because they're getting more product sales. We pass that product onto Bachmann Europe, and they push it out through their 500 plus retailers as well. And if we've produced one of those EFE Rail models, and we haven't produced them all, it's got our logo on the back. So actually we've got a bit of publicity, we've got our product out wider, and it might just redirect a few people out there to say, oh, I'll go and find out who KMRC are. So it is a bit of a win-win, hopefully, for everybody.
So it's a bit like using Bachmann as the distributor. So there'd be a whole host of different companies that will be able to access that and get.
It's not just us at Kernow. So when the brand was first released, you'll notice there was some Helgen product as part of that, and so on. So it's not just us. Yes, we've kind of picked up the baton and thought this is a really good idea for us as a business, and we've run with it. We've reused some of our tooling. We've added to some of our previous tooling. So the Adams Oakley 2s, for example, we've added extra bits of tooling in that weren't available to us previously. So we can backdate the model back to LSWR condition or early Isle of Wight condition. And also we've now produced new tooling, which has come out under the EFE Rail brand for the very first time. You mentioned the Bullard Raworth electric locomotive. Now, I've been working on that in the background, researching and sort of developing that for the last 10 years. And actually what it gave us by putting that through the EFE Rail brand was it meant the model could appear to the market quicker, because if we were going to produce it, we've got to find the cash flow to pay for the tooling and pay for production up front and all those sorts of costs. So it's bringing some of our models that we've got in our pipeline through earlier and quicker. Some people have said, oh, well, EFE Rail is only Southern Railway stuff. That's because that's what we do. But you know, we've produced Great Western Fish bloaters, we've produced YOB cranes, you know, we've done the PCV, for example. So it's not just Southern, it's not just, you know, that sort of thing. So there we go. You know, and there are other models that will come out under the EFE Rail brand from a variety of sources, not just us, but also not just Southern. You know, so I have had to go and learn a bit about other railway companies as well. You know, every day's a school day.
Absolutely, and the I guess the T3 is one which there's been a lot of buzz about that you've just shared. Are they production samples?
No, so they're decorated samples. So with all our models, we make sure we get, as part of the process, a complete set of decorated samples, so that liveries can be checked. So there are a few tweaks we're making to those. Production is now underway because we've agreed with the factories what those tweaks should be.
I mean, they look absolutely amazing, and you've designed in from the outset the different versions of the pre-grouping liveries. There's several London and South Western Railway variants, and it's something that I can remember 15-20 years ago. Manufacturers never really touched pre-grouping. It was always deemed as like, oh, nobody really wants that. But now it seems that
it is very, you know, pre-grouping has become more and more popular, and it's a bit like, you know, if you make the models, you can build a market around it. TT120, classic example. It maybe still needs to have a little bit more of a tipping point of you know, a number of different products on that scale. But as far as pre-grouping goes, you know, we've just had to do another batch of our London Brighton South Coast liveried 5-plank opens, for example, because those original Brighton versions in the LBSC grey sold through very quickly. So we wouldn't normally do another production run as quickly as we have done, but you know, we ran out of, you know, we sold out of those Brighton wagons in Brighton livery fairly quickly.
Yeah, that, I mean, I don't think they even particularly touched the website. They were pretty much sold out to
went
pre-order.
very quickly. So the T3, you know, it was, you know, that was first introduced in 1893. Our tooling allows us to do every single condition of that locomotive since 1893 to when, you know, to the modern day preserved example on the Swanage Railway. So that's chimneys, boilers, smoke box doors, suspension units, you know, you name it, we've got different variations. So it's an extensive suite, and you know, unusually, of course, what we can't do is put it into a British Railways livery because it never was in one. You know, maybe a what if in the future, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, Rapido did do the Jones goods in later livery. Was it the Jones? I'm possibly getting confused, but definitely I'm sure there's been some where they've done kind of what if BR liveries, but certainly.
I mean, there's certainly a market. You know, people are buying some of those what ifs. It's not something that we've really got into just yet. You know, we may do in the future. I've got quite a few other livery versions and combinations of liveries and tooling that we can do before then.
And I've also been asked by TMC, the Model Centre, to mention that they're doing a model with under the EFE Rail branding as well, the BZ 6-wheel coach, the brake luggage van. Yes.
Yep.
So there's quite a few different versions available to order through TMC, the Model Centre, and it's quite a long-lived beast. But I suppose the EFE Rail branding does allow a lot more variety, and you know, they've touched upon many different scales as well. We've had N gauge, double O, O gauge as well.
That's correct.
But I think it's really nice to get a perspective on what EFE Rail is, because I know I made the mistake of just assuming that Kernow Model Centre were quite more involved than they are, and actually it's great to actually set that straight. So hopefully people
appreciate that.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that you didn't get too angry with me when but
Sorry.
I think I think it's an easy mistake to make. A lot of people weren't quite sure how EFE Rail sat in the portfolio, but it's definitely I think it's great for the hobby, and it just
It's
shows
100% Bachmann Europe. We just contribute models, and other third parties could come to a similar arrangement with Bachmann Europe if they so wished.
And do you pitch models to them and say, yeah, we'd like to do this, or do they say, yeah, we think there might be mileage in doing X? Is anybody interested in doing it? How does the actual commissioning process work?
It's a two-way street. So obviously, models that we've already got tooling for is a fairly straightforward. We've got this tooling. Can we produce it and make the numbers work from a point of view of selling price against costs? Sometimes, yes, we'll go to Bachmann and say, I've got all the information we need to do a T3. We're already working with the 563 locomotive group and have access to the locomotive throughout this restoration, and I've been I actually was helping them with liveries and research information as well. So, you know, the T3's been quite a real collaborative project between myself, the Southwestern Circle, and also the 563 locomotive group. So it's worked well for all parties. One of the reasons I wanted to do the T3 was, firstly, it was being restored and back to steam, which actually makes it a much more viable product because the real thing is now back in the headlines. But I've got here at home, I've got the copies of the original 1892 general arrangement drawings for the locomotive and the tender. So, you know, the CADs which are done by one of our factories in China, they use that original drawing in order as a starting point to produce the CADs.
And I've just had a question come in on the chat here from Peter Jackson Cheadle Heath, who asks, who takes the decision on reruns? Is that Bachmann with the EFE Rail branding, or do the third parties go to them and say, we think there's mileage for another run of this model?
So again, that's a two-way conversation. Sometimes it'll be Bachmann Europe that says, you know, can we do this? Sometimes we'll go, well, we've also got this tooling. We haven't done these liveries before. Here's some options that we could do with that. You know, you mentioned the BT Well tank and the fact that you've got the green version.
Yeah.
You know, the green version never set foot outdoors in that livery because it was painted in that livery when it was stuffed and mounted at the Dart Valley Railway.
Yeah.
But we got, you know, we'd already had lots of people requesting that livery, the LNER livery, as somebody once incorrectly put it. But it is very pretty. It looks great on the loco. And, you know, that one has sold through. So who knows when the next BT Well tank run will happen. But, you know, generally, if you're going to do a rerun, you know, you want to leave it a few years before you do so.
Absolutely,
we've got a few other things to run with and do first. There's plenty of other things in the pipeline.
Absolutely, and you've also been very much involved in the full-sized railway preservation work. When I first introduced you, I mentioned the general steam navigation kind of unrebuilding of Bullied Pacific. And
well done, you actually got bullied right there.
I'm never quite sure how it's supposed to be pronounced, and I've heard some, quite knowledgeable people pronounce it in two different ways.
So the easy way to remember it is, as Bullied himself said, you pronounce Mansell as in cancel, and you pronounce Bullied as in succeed.
Right.
So you don't. The I is silent. It's Bullied.
Yeah. I will confess, I probably used both different pronunciations at various times.
Yeah, you've used both tonight so far. So.
Have I? But how long have you been involved with that project? Because that particular locomotive left Barry quite a long time ago.
So I'm actually a shareholder and part owner of two Merchant Navy Pacifics. So I've been involved with P&O number 6, which is on the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Steam Railway, just coming to the end in November of its first boiler certificate. And General Steam Navigation, the only steam locomotive surviving with the word steam in its name. Little fact. So that was bought by an individual from Barry in 1983, and it had been owned by that individual up until 2016, when the General Steam Navigation Locomotive Restoration Society was formed and ownership transferred to known as a community interest company as part of that society. And I joined fairly early on, and then became a board director of the owning company in sort of 2019. And I'm currently chairman and company secretary for my sins. But yes, I mean, it's an interesting project. I am a huge Bullied fan, obviously, both in model form, where I have far too many of them, and also obviously in full size. And the opportunity to basically put her back into original condition, complete with Bullied's patented changer and valve gear and so forth, was an opportunity not to be missed to get involved with. Yes, we've had a couple of setbacks and we've got plenty of work to be done, but we'll get there. It's kind of the missing link in preservation, because there's plenty of rebuilds around. The whole class of 30 were rebuilt by 1959. So she will be the only unrebuilt merchant navy, because they were either original or rebuilt. None of the ones in their original form are unrebuilt.
And presumably, I mean, people might be wondering why you would do that, but I guess in this particular instance, because the crank axle was taken off, swapped out with a plain axle to go underneath a different locomotive. Yeah. It's as expensive to unrebuild it as it would be to restore it in its rebuilt form. So it's basically it's not, there's no extra cost involved to do this, so it is a unique opportunity.
Yes, I mean there's still a cost involved in replacing the middle cylinder, because when they were rebuilt and the Walshart's valve gear replaced the Bullied valve gear, it did modify the middle cylinder far too much for us to reuse it. But that middle cylinder can be used as a spare for some of the other rebuilt merchant navies that are preserved, so that won't go to waste and be scrapped. But yeah, she was withdrawn in February 1966, and at a time when the slightest thing wrong with a steam locomotive was basically dictating its withdrawal date. And for whatever reason, number 26 must have been loved by somebody up high, because she had a damaged crank axle, and they decided to do a crank axle swap, and number 11's crank axle got sent down to Weymouth depot, and they actually replaced the crank axle outside, wasn't even within a workshop, to keep number 26 running. We still don't, it's that one little bit of history is we don't quite know why they went to that extreme.
I can only assume it was a depot pet or something.
Something like that. Somebody high up, it must have been a pet. And 26 survived right to the end. So there we go.
We've just had a question come in on the chat. Eclectic Trains asks, if I may ask a question, would Graeme be able to recommend a good biography of Bullied?
Yes, I mean there's been one written by H.A.V. Bullied, his son, which is probably a very good starting point. That's the one I would recommend. Bullied Giant of Steam, I think that one's called. There's a couple of biographies that are very good and well written. So yeah, but H.A.V. Bullied's his son's biography is pretty good.
Excellent. And can I ask, how did you first get into an interest in railways and model railways? I always like to ask people where it all began. So for yourself, what was the start of the path?
So a combination of things. Well, my grandfather on my dad's side worked for the Southern Railway. He was a plate layer, then ganger, and then a sub-inspector permanent way for the Southern Railway and British Railways Southern Region, based out of Salisbury and Andover Junction. Salisbury is where my father was brought up, and unfortunately he died of a heart attack on the line side at Eastleigh before I was born, so I never met my grandfather on that side. So in that sense, there is sort of Southern Railway in the blood. My cousin, who's older than me, he had a model railway in his loft just north of Salisbury, which when I was sort of 5 or 6 was taken up to and allowed to go up and play. So my first model railway locomotive bought the following Christmas was a Triang M7, number 245, and in its great plastic olive green livery. I still have it to this day. It's been super detailed with, some of you may remember the crown line detailing kits of old. It's been re-wheeled. It's still got its original XO3 motor in it. I then hand painted it into bullied malachite livery. I haven't actually the heart to go back and tell my 14-year-old self that the number I've chosen wasn't one of the 6 that got malachite green livery, but I'm certainly not going to change it now because it's part of my own history.
That's it. I mean,
it's Southern Railway was kind of in the blood, and my cousin also owns a couple of Class 33s, so there's definitely blood and heritage blood in the family.
I just got in the chat, Zantec has very kindly donated £2 on the super chat, and he actually types, were the unrebuilt Merchant Navy class locos the spam cam bodies?
Yeah, so they were air smoothed is the official term. So obviously the first Merchant Navies came out in 1941, the first 10. General Steam Navigation was the first of the second batch of 10 in 1944, and they were all had the air smoothed casing, which is similar. They're slightly wider bodies than the bullied Light Pacifics, so the West Countries and Battle of Britons, which technically are the same class. They followed in 1945, so they did get sort of, one of their nicknames was the spam cans. I think a derogatory term at the time for the fact that it looked like a square box. But they've been known as flat tops or air smoothed. Air smoothed is the official designation because they're not really streamlined.
So, I mean, was the air smooth thing more about what the publicity department wanted, with all of the streamlining being the in thing, with the LNER having the A4s, or was that definitely one of Bullied's innovations? Obviously, there was a lot of
Bullied, obviously, his background, he started working on the Great Northern Railway. He married Ivert's daughter, the original Ivert. Then was working as sort of deputy assistant to Nigel Gresley, later Sir Nigel Gresley, and he had a background. He'd also worked for Westinghouse in France, and did a lot of testing with drafting arrangements whilst he was working in France. So he had a hand in a multitude of things on the Great Northern and LNER. So the front end, which was designed by Bugatti of the A4, well, it was Bullied that was involved on behalf of the LNER, working alongside Bugatti on that. He had a big hand in the design of the P2s, the 282s, that were designed for running north of Aberdeen on sort of the hillier sections of that line. And if you look at a Merchant Navy and the Light Pacifics, they all have a 6'2" driving wheel, which coincidentally is the same as the P2s, because again they were developed for being able to operate heavy trains at high speed on the section west of Salisbury, which is more undulating, very similar to the line north of Aberdeen. So Bullied was very good at reusing ideas and taking other people's ideas. But what he would do in a lot of places would be to take somebody's design, take the Lemaitre blast pipe, the large diameter chimney and blast pipe arrangement, and he would modify it enough so that he didn't have to pay royalties. And so the Lemaitre blast pipe design, for example, we've done some work with Loughborough University for General Steam Navigation, because one of our aims is to try and lift the exhaust steam and smoke higher away from the top of the locomotive. And they've done a lot of work with the Bullied chimney design, and actually he was very close to it being optimum performance. And they've proved that just by adjusting the angle of the nozzles by a fraction of a degree and reducing the petticoat of the chimney by a few inches, we can not only increase the lift of the smoke away from the top of the locomotive, but also improve the performance by about 12%.
That is
so
a huge
Bullied
amount.
was this minute amount away from it being perfect. And obviously he's well known for the Bullard Firth Brown wheels, where he took the American box pop design and again, working with the Firth Brown foundry, improved that design. He's made the tires easier to assemble onto the centers of the wheels. So he's actually made an improved design, so it's his own design, and again didn't have to pay any royalties to Bop Bop. That solid wheel design improves or reduces the hammer blow onto the track along with his chain driven valve gear. So it's quite an impressive wheel design, really.
So was he ahead of his time? I mean, or were a lot of these ideas pushing the envelope for the sake of pushing the envelope? Or, I mean, what was it that meant that things like the merchant navies were rebuilt rather than persisted with the original design?
So, for example, if we take the boiler is probably one of Bullard's boiler, welded boiler is probably one of the best boiler designs ever conceived for a steam locomotive. The original merchant navies, for example, didn't have any dampers on the firebox because Bullard's argument was, why do you want to stop my engine from making steam? Well, actually, if you want to control a locomotive a bit better, particularly when it's sat at the buffer stops at Waterloo, then dampers are quite useful. If you take the chain-driven valve gear, encased in an oil bath, and for those of you thinking the oil bath leaked, they didn't. They were pressurized as an oil bath, incidentally to the same pressure and basically the same design as the internal combustion engine that most of us have driven before, which has a pressurized oil system encased in an oil bath, which is your sump of your car. Those oil baths being pressurized, if they leaked, they would have emptied fairly quickly because of the pressure. The instances, for example, of lagging fires that occurred on some of the earlier versions was down to over-oiling of the middle axles, which are by gravity-fed lubricators rather than mechanical. So they tended to splash oil up. The brake block material was changed in around about 1953 to a material that didn't spark as much, and therefore that completely reduced instances of lagging fires. So yeah, you could say he was ahead of his time. Even I will accept there's some odd decisions made. He had a choice of using either, say, the Ashford steam reverser or the Eastleigh steam reverser, and he decided to go with the Eastleigh one despite it not being as good as the Ashford. And then positioned it mounted horizontally just under the boiler in front of the firebox, in probably the most inaccessible place to put it, and also, right next to the heat of the firebox. So preserved locomotives like Tangmere on the main line have had no problems with wheel slip or oil problems or even problems with the reversers because they're maintained differently under preservation. So there was, not everything he did was great. And you think, we can learn a few lessons there. But he was trying to make life better for the engineman. You don't have to go around oiling up every half a day because everything's encased in an oil lubrication bath. The cab design with steam operated firebox door holes and things like that. Controls, all the fireman's controls were separate and on the fireman's side. They didn't have to cross the cab to do the left-hand injector and things like that. So a lot of very good practice, and his coaching stock effectively, if you look at a BR Mark 1, with the exception of the bogies and sort of steel roof, is basically one of the Bullard design in both layout and length and form. And actually BR probably regret not using the SR steam bogie because it was certainly better than the first bogies they used on the Mark 1s. Yeah,
because they had a lot of issues with the suspension getting quite rough in comparatively quick length of time. I've just had a comment come in, a super chat in the chat from JL Railways, very kindly sent £5 and said, I've got a massive love for Bullard. One of my faves is 34070 Manston at the Swanage, and he asks, what would be your favourite locomotive, Graeme?
Well, at the moment, I've got to say it's 350006 Peninsula Oriental line. She effectively hasn't put a foot wrong in preservation. Clan Line, obviously, I've got a soft spot for. You know, she again is probably, of all the steam locomotives to be on the main line, she has the best performance record of any preserved locomotive on the main line, without a shadow of a doubt. A credit to the Merchant Navy Locomotive Preservation Society, who do such an amazing job. You know, and obviously I've got a soft spot for general steam navigation.
Yeah, I must admit, I assumed that you would say that one, but I had to ask as they typed it in the chat. And also got another super chat here, but this time from Zantec, very kindly given £5 on the super chat, and says, apart from the diameter, what were the other differences between the Merchant Navy class and the Battle of Britain class?
So the Battle of Britain was a lighter weight version. So the boiler is slightly smaller in diameter. The wheelbase is slightly different. So the rear driving wheel is 6 inches closer to the centre driving wheel, and the rear pony truck is also a foot closer to the rear driving wheel. So they're slightly shorter, they're slightly narrower. So the first batch of light Pacifics were built with 8'6" wide cabs. Later batch were then built back with 9-foot wide cabs. It did allow the light Pacifics to work through the Hastings tunnels, for example, so they get slightly greater route availability. But yeah, generally it's down to boiler diameter and slightly shorter and shorter wheelbase.
We had another super chat in there, coming in thick and fast at the moment. Melchester Model Railway, very kindly given £5, and says, I mean, I must admit, I will say this with the caveat that I know that manufacturers don't ever say what they're working on.
I've just seen what he's asked.
So, that any plans for Kernow to re-release the Hampshire DEMU Class 205, possibly as a 3-car unit in blue-grey? And generally, just say watch this space, I think, is what most manufacturers would say.
To coin a phrase from Simon Kohler, for example, I'll say never.
That's probably a very good answer. Obviously, manufacturers wouldn't want to use this live stream as a way of announcing future products, so I completely understand. Yeah. I've got Ian White here. It says, can I please ask if Kernow have any plans of doing anything in O gauge of their own in modern image at all?
I mean, we have dabbled in O gauge a little bit. I mean, the LSWR vans, again, the one that you showed us on the TMC bargains.
Yes.
You know, yes, that was very much one of Kernow's design. So we first produced the Diagram 1410 in O gauge. It's still available. We have done the CDA China clay hoppers in O gauge, working alongside Dapol. You know, the O gauge market is still, you know, finding a feet from a ready to run model. I mean, Dapol, I have to give amazing credit to for, you know, bringing an awful lot of people into the O gauge market just with the price point and quality of their 08 and the O gauge Terriers, for example.
Absolutely,
you can pick up one of those for pretty much the same price as a 00 model now. So that price differential has come down on locomotives, certainly the Dapol ones. Other manufacturers, perhaps not quite such value for money. But, you know, rolling stock is still quite a big gap in price between, you know, 00 and, you know, you take the road, you know, the LSWR van, you know, you can pick them up for sort of 25 quid in 00, but it's sort of 70 quid in O gauge. So again, I'll never say never. You know, modern image side of things, probably not a loco.
Just a moment. Yep. I'm just going to go through some of the...
I froze there, yeah.
And JL Railways, again, very kindly donated on the super chat, says, I do love 35006. She was the first bullied I went behind, and she does sound beautiful. I'll pop up and see her before the end of her ticket.
So you've got an opportunity to see her on the Severn Valley Railway Gala in September. I think on the 20th and 21st, something like that, of September, and then she'll be running on the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Steam Gala in October, which will probably be one of the very last times she's out, because her boiler certificate runs out at the beginning of November.
Oh gosh!
So you can actually see her at the Severn Valley Railway. It's only her third trip away from the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Steam Railway under this ticket, so a chance to see her on that line as well as the Cheltenham to Toddington line.
Excellent. And also, I noticed when I was doing a little bit of research, you seem to have a very, very keen interest in music. There's a lot of photos of live events. I'm just wondering, are you able to tell us a little bit more about your love of music?
Well, it's fairly eclectic. I mean, I suppose my main passion leans towards rock music. I'm a huge Genesis fan. If you're wondering why there's odd splotches of colour, well done. If there's odd splotches of colour on the wall beside me, that's a nod to a certain Genesis album cover.
I do recognise it, actually, yes.
But yeah, so whether that's Genesis, Pink Floyd, Rush from Canada, there we go. So I am a huge fan of live music. There's a few bands I follow quite a lot. It's just nice to get away from sort of home and model railways and everything else that's going on in life, and go and enjoy some proper live music and support those bands that are out there.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, because there's some, obviously Genesis aren't playing live anymore. They're all well older than me, but there are some excellent, and it almost pains me to call them tribute bands, because if they're going out there and they're playing quite large venues and playing the music of Genesis, you have to be damn good musicians to do it. So go and support your local live music venue, because it needs it. It's a great night out and really quite cheap.
Excellent, yeah. And I wonder if you can settle a query. Zoe was convinced that you were at the, from the photographs, that you were at the Pulse tour in the 90s.
I was indeed.
So you were there when this album was recorded.
Told you.
Yes, indeed.
Oh wow!
I was also at the Pink Floyd gig at Earl's Court that lasted 28 seconds.
Was that the one where the seating collapsed?
Yeah, indeed. So
because your aunt was
first gig of the worldwide tour. Yeah.
Oh my word! Gosh. So I mean, you've been to like some of the famous, infamous as well, gigs. Yeah. I'm so jealous, actually. I'm a huge Pink Floyd fan as well, as you can imagine. I mean, to track this beast down on quadruple vinyl is no easy feat. Yeah. But to know that you were there, sir, we're not worthy. We're not worthy. That must have been a hell of an experience.
Yeah. Well, my first gig, I was 12, and I snuck to the gig with my older brother without my mum knowing, and got a severe telling off. I was going to use a different word then. Severe telling off when we got home.
Oh, but I bet it was worth it.
And that was to see Rush at Wembley Arena.
Again, Rush would have been incredible. Tom Sawyer and
an amazing three-piece band. Absolutely amazing live.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I've lost count of the number of times I've seen them.
It sounds to me like actually you've got a very similar music taste to me. I mean, I'll try you with one more. I was hoping you'd mention Marillion, so I could hold this up as well.
Yeah, I mean, I live very close to Aylesbury, so those people that know Marillion, Market Square Heroes is a reference to Aylesbury Market Square. Yeah. I've again followed Marillion since just before, and I'm going to say this before Fish left. Which is 35 years ago. So Steve Hogarth, the lead singer, he is Marillion's lead singer. He's not the guy that replaced Fish. I do get a birthday card and Christmas card off of him most years. So again, a band that I've followed for many years.
Oh, well, that's excellent. Well, it's superb musical taste. And it's one of those things I do say to people. Don't be afraid of having interests outside of model railways.
Too right.
And it gives you a really good, grounded, more rounded perspective on so many things.
And you mentioned it earlier, it's great for mental health as well.
Absolutely, yes. And that's obviously very, very important always. And I think certainly with railway modelling, it can become a solitary activity, and I think it is very important for people to not feel afraid to actually reach out and say, actually, I'm struggling and I need help, and not feel bad about needing to do that.
And I've spotted a question there about TT120.
I was just about to read that out.
Preempt you. So, I mean, we have done a couple of limited, we have done a limited edition TT120 wagon, which has sold quite well. So much so we went back to Pico and asked them to make a few more for us. So that was our sort of toe in the water. I'm pretty sure that there may well be others to come in the future. Probably starting off with whether it's exclusive wagons or something like that. I don't think we're yet in a position to be thinking about locos and so forth. So it's certainly something that we might do under our own brand, or exclusive livery versions and so forth.
And from a retailer's perspective, how well does TT120 sit in the sales league table between other scales? Is it really got a popular take-up?
It's still a very young scale in that sense. It sells well. It ticks over quite nicely. As I mentioned before, as a scale, it hasn't quite reached that cohesive sort of range yet. Yes, if you want to, and more stuff is coming out from other manufacturers. So at the moment, if you've got a series of private owner wagons, there's not a lot of choice of what to realistically pull it with. That will come in time. So as more people get into the market with it, and Pico have obviously gone in with the wagons, and they've just announced a beautiful set of laser cut Ventnor West Isle of Wight buildings that will go very nicely with the Hornby Terrier and coaches that they're producing. So I can see lots of little embryonic Isle of Wight Isle of Wight layouts coming up, and so maybe that's a clue to perhaps what we ought to be looking at here, with perhaps some wagons or something to go with it. I don't know yet, but we'll see. It's a growing scale, and it will take a little while to get that sort of overall cohesiveness. You can buy a Class 15 and HST and some coaches, but what else? Or you can buy LNER Pacifics and coaches, but not a goods train to go with it. It'll get there. If you look at the TT layouts that are starting to be produced now, then they're not the track map type layouts, and we're starting to see more and more proper railway modelling type layouts. Hornby magazine produced a very good one that really, I think, opened people's eyes to what can be done in the scale. And when you look at that relationship of track to locomotive or rolling stock widths, it looks right, because obviously it's technically more accurate scale wise than 00.
Because it doesn't have any of the baggage. And this is what I was saying to people when TT120 came out, is it doesn't have any of that historical baggage that 00 definitely has, and to some extent N-Gauge does, because they were originally developed in a period where electric motor technology couldn't be made small enough to work within the loading gauge. But TT120 does away with all of that, and when you actually see the track, it's like you say, you don't realise just how off things like 00 actually are until you see it done to exactly the right width. I'm very conscious I've taken up an hour of your time.
That's all right.
And it's been an absolute honour talking with you. It's been really great, incredibly knowledgeable. We now know the relationship between Bachmann, EFE Rail and such like, which I think a lot of people had wondered about. I've got one final question I'm being asked. A lot of people in the chat are asking about, do manufacturers take requests for models, presumably to gauge whether a model is viable? And if so, what would be the best way to make suggestions to manufacturers, to retailers who do their own exclusive models?
So I mean, obviously we get requests through, we've got a contact us form on the website. People can feel free to put requests forward. I know there's certainly one person on the chat that would love a T14 from us.
Yes, I saw that as well.
I would love to do one, Ben, but give us a chance to get the T3 out the way first. But that's not saying we're doing it, because it's quite a complex class. A lot of the manufacturers, take, if you ever see Bachmann at the Bachmann Collectors Club at a stand at a show, they have slips of paper you can put suggestions on there. Hornby will do the same. You can always email into us and make suggestions. I mean, as far as model selection goes, it can be a number of things. Sometimes it's there has been a big clamour. The T3, for example, people were starting to see the restored version, and people were talking about it, and we'd actually already suggested that to Bachmann because of what I'd got resource-wise to produce it. Sometimes it's you see a demand, the wish list polls and so on that are run fairly regularly. Certainly that helps. It gives a steer. Sometimes it's a gut feeling. Sometimes it's as simple as we've got access to a lot of information about a particular thing, so let's look at it. And other times it's the whim of the boss. So sometimes it can be my boss that says, well, I've ridden in the cab of the Great Western Steam Rail motor, we must do a model of it.
Yes.
Other times it's it might be the boss of Bachmann that says, I think we should do this, or it might be a collective effort within Bachmann that sort of, I'm sure they have brainstorming sessions in the same way that we do at Kernow for some of our exclusives.
So I had a question. It's moved around. Oh, there we are. Melchester Model Railway says Graeme's title of the guru is well deserved. Certainly, I've been billing you as the guru of all things Southern, and definitely, I think you're very deserved of that title. And when I see you next, I will, of course, give you, as I give all guests to the Monday Club, one of the pin badges.
Thank you very much.
I don't think you'll need the discount at other retailers, but it's
probably not. But what I will say is, obviously, I do. You will see me occasionally on the Kernow stand. They don't let me near the till very often because I'm not very practiced at it. But by all means, say hello. If you see me at a show with either my layouts or perhaps, recently I've been out with Collingwood, which is Simon Paley's fantastic modern image layout, properly signalled because he is a network rail signalling designer at the end of the day. So it is spot on. Please do come up and say hello.
Brilliant. Well, look, thank you so much for taking
Absolute
the time
pleasure.
out to chat with us. It's been an absolutely great interview, and I hope everybody in the chat has enjoyed that. So everybody, Graeme Muspratt from KMRC, and also General Steam Navigation Preservation Group, and also all-round great music fan as well. So if you bump into him at a concert, it's like, you look an awful lot like Graeme from KMRC.
It's likely to be me.
It's likely to be him, so do say hello. Look, thank you so much. You take care and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Good night.
So there we have it. We've had a really great interview there with Graeme. So a lot of interesting stuff there. A bit of an insight as well into some of the processes behind how to choose the models, but also I think a lot of people now know how EFE Rail and the companies that have produced models for EFE Rail all sit together. So definitely a huge thank you to Graeme for that. So we've done
kind of hung again.
Have I? Well, I don't know whether the chat is still going.
Nope, the entire
I think
system.
That's as Facebook has
when we hung
down.
up the thing, yeah.
So
wow, that's screwed us over. Sorry about that.
You were trying to bring up something. I would bail from Facebook.
I was about to say thank you to Graeme for coming on, and then that was it.
Yeah. So sorry about that, but it's it is incredibly hot up here. I've had a freezer pack at my feet all night, and it's actually pretty much completely melted. It is so warm, and obviously the computer does feel that a little bit. But look, huge thanks to Graeme. In the news at the moment,
yes, Jen, what's in the news?
Well, as we were saying at the beginning of the programme, a huge number of new bargains gone online at TMC, the Model Centre. Our top picks actually do include the Roworth booster locomotive. I called it a Class 70. I can almost hear Graeme shuddering at that. I think some people call it the original Class 70. I don't know whether it actually got that officially, but £88.99 at TMC, the Model Centre, better than half price, it has to be said. Also, the Hornby 08 in Lauren Rail livery for £109.99. You cannot be robbed at that for a brand new Hornby 08. I know a lot of people have been saying the Bachmann one's sold out at Bachmann, pretty much sold out everywhere else. That's a great opportunity to get an 08 into your fleet. We also talked a little bit about the BZ 6-wheel brake luggage van. That's an exclusive TMC commission from EFE Rail. They are available to order, and they've got full listings, all the different livery versions are available on the TMC website. KMRC, their exclusive London, Brighton and South Coast Railway diagram, I think it was. They are in transit. I believe they're going round around the Horn. So they're not going through Suez.
They're coming around the mountain when they come.
No, they're taking the long route. So they're currently in transit. Really popular in that livery. So KMRC have done another run. Sarah Davis asks, the Model Centre TMC, any N-gauge in the sale?
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of N-gauge. I actually put the filter on for 00 because I wanted to look what bargains there were so I could go shopping.
There are a lot of
But yes, there are a lot of N-gauge bargains. All I can say is go and check out the TMC bargains page.
Yes. Highly engaging.
And also, Flymo Chairman 1 reminds us that the banana vans have arrived at TMC. I believe that this is the Oxford Rail ones are incoming and imminent. Really looking forward to these, including the Southern Railway version. These were hired from the LNER to the Southern. Tom Marshall, Buckle Skelly Station says, I'm not sorry, I'm late.
A Monday clubber is never late, Toto wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Thanks, Gandalf. And Michael Sarsfield says, great article of your layout. That's Minith Tatwith and Newith in the Hornby mag. It was nice to see it. Thank you so much. 8-page spread. Valleys 56XX says, did I mention I got 08419? I'm very jealous. That's one of the Hornby 08s I still am looking for. The Model Centre TMC says they arrived today, Jenny. Excellent. I'm really looking forward to those. I really enjoy the original release of them. I've got versions of those. Really great, affordable model. And we talked with Graeme a bit at the beginning of the interview about the hobby doesn't have to be expensive.
It really doesn't.
And actually, Oxford Rail have got some really great models at a good value price. Also, the Bachmann 8F was mentioned, announced, I should say. So Malco Blues, thank you for reminding me. So an all-new tooled Bachmann 8F in 00. I know a lot of people have been clamouring for a complete redo of the 8F. Hornby have had one in their range going way back. So this is the first offering in 00 of the 8F from Bachmann. Sure to be very popular, and if it's anything like the 08 shunters, I think these are going to sell out largely to pre-orders. So if that is a must-have item, do get your pre-order in. And of course, TMC, the Model Centre, you can pre-order with them. No money down. So
pre-order with confidence.
Absolutely. Also, KMRC will probably do the same as well. RG Models 86 reminds you that Bachmann are doing a rerun of the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway E4s, including the really pretty LBSCR burnt umber livery. Those proved very popular the first time round, where they actually did a collector's club special of Birch Grove plus a main range release in that livery too, but also the Southern Railway olive green versions also proved very popular.
Now, Jen,
yes?
I don't want to scare you, but
okay. Michael Sarsfield says Gwion was selling the banana vans last weekend. He was at a show and he had some on the Model Tech stand. I think that retailers are now just starting to get the orders. Guillaume does have the advantage that he can go and pick them up in person from Oxford Rail. Dave Scott Railway says, my Monday Club badge arrived over the weekend. Thank you, Zoe.
You're
absolutely welcome, and thank you so much for supporting the scheme. Sarah Davis says, burnt umber. I've heard once you go burnt cerise, you don't go back.
Once you go burnt cerise, everything else too hard to please.
Yes. Yeah, the LBSCR brown, the burnt umber if you speak posh, brown if you don't. Peter Jackson, Cheadle Heath as well, puts it, Sawyer Models would do pre-orders. To be honest, any model shop will do pre-orders. I was just saying. Ben Tellett says, I want Bachmann to put a camel in with the 8F based at the Severn Valley Railway model because of its little mishap it had in wartime. Of course, yeah, a lot of the 8Fs were sent overseas. Some made it back, but a lot were actually sold on. A lot into the Middle East, Turkey, even as far afield as China. It would be interesting to know the fate of all the 8Fs that went out to China. I know that they had some of the Robinson 8K, later LNER 04 locos as well. And I am curious what the ultimate fate of those would have been. Probably scrapped, but you never quite know. Certainly 8Fs, there's been, I think it's 2 repatriated from Turkey for restoration in recent years. There are a number still out there. I think Greece had some. Iran and Iraq had some. Whether they still do, I don't know. But yeah, definitely they got out and about. And it'd be interesting to see whether Bachmann will do War Department liveries in the future. Would be really interesting to see. Maybe even the Turkish Railways livery might be good for a special. And yes, Simon Trains Mother Railway Showcase says there are 2 at the bottom of the sea somewhere. I think it's the certainly in the Red Sea. There's a couple. Is that the SS Thorn?
They got promoted to submarine.
No, the ship they were on got blown up.
They were promoted to submarine.
What, like the Russian Navy and the Black Sea Navy? Ben tells us, one for Zoe, the 8F featured in the recent Indiana Jones game at one point.
I do need to play that. The Golden Circle or something?
And Malco Blue says there is still an 8F in Iraq. That's it. I mean, I don't know what state it would be. But certainly Thistlegorm. I knew there was a gorm in it. Oh, I wasn't being gormless, but Leslie Gilpin Railway says there are 2 on Thistlegorm. Seen the tenders and water tank wagons, but chickened out of seeing the locos. Bridget Smith Therapy says, can you wish my railway mad hubby a happy birthday? Joe Smith watches every week. Happy birthday to you. Squash tomatoes and stew. Bread and butter in the gutter. Happy birthday to you. About Roobster's Trains and Travel says, I hope that 8F in Iraq isn't in too bad of a state. I suspect that it may be in a pretty dire state, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. Right. Other news, that's all I can think of, to be honest with you. The next batch of Bachmann 08s, I'm told, include the BR Rail Blue 09 variant. Now, whilst both Bachmann and Hornby have released 09s from their tooling, in the case of Bachmann, the previous tooling, Bachmann did 09006 in mainline livery, and Hornby have done 09012 in Engineers Grey. They've also done the same loco as preserved in BR Green, and they did as a special for Model Zone 09017 in a different rendition of mainline. This is the first time that from new tooling a manufacturer has released an 09 in Humble Rail Blue, so it's going to be very, very popular. I bet you will struggle to find one if you haven't ordered already. What are we looking for? Griffey says, I have dived on the Thistlegorm back in 1994. I did. You can go diving there. So yeah, I did see that, Griffey. The 8F at Bowness is safely in the new engineering building, so safe from the elements. It's
Nice.
always very important at preserved railways. And obviously all of that work goes into restoration. You want to keep them out of the weather.
Yeah.
That was one of the big drives, things like the Bluebell Railway building their carriage shed
Yes.
to stop weather deterioration of the carriage
Weathering
fleet.
is a big thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Very big thing.
I remember when they were campaigning to raise the money to buy the site and build the actual shed. And they said that, obviously in the long run, it will save them a fortune in restoration costs.
Just remember the poem Ozymandias. Look upon my works, ye mortals, and weep, because he thinks he's great, but there's nothing there because it's all weathered away.
Yeah, Griffey says, news is, well, I have some news. I've been asked if I would be interested in taking over the running of the G and O scale outdoor model railway at the Foxfield Steam Railway.
Very
Brilliant.
nice. Congratulations.
Absolutely. Congratulations to you. They are in very safe hands. And Griffith says any donations be gladly accepted by them.
Fantastic.
Spongate Junction says, hi Jenny and Zoe. I went to the Daypole Open Day on Saturday. I didn't know there was an open day. If I'd have known, I would have probably tried to go.
We had family on Saturday.
I know, but we would have moved stuff around a little bit. But I always love visiting Daypole. I believe they were doing factory tours. Well, we had a factory tour before it was cool and really, really interested. I didn't know, and I had to look back through their Facebook page and have I missed something? And it's like
You have to be in their fan club.
Oh, right.
No, I said, do you have to be in their fan club?
I would assume so. But yeah, it's really great.
Well, there's your reason you didn't know about it then.
Yeah, good bunch of guys at Daypole.
They really are.
Yeah. So we enjoyed our visit and tour of the factory. So I'm sure a lot of people had a great time there.
And I wonder whether they've recovered from you trying to make that model yet.
Make that model?
You tried to put together a wagon.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my first attempt at building something in a factory, and then I went. I springboarded from that, and I went off, and I actually built a Black 5 at Hornby.
Yeah, one that limps.
Yes, it does. Actually, no, the limp. It got better. The limp went away.
Yeah, only because you fixed all your mistakes.
No, actually, running in really did sort that out. And it just goes
all the bits slotted into place
all
eventually.
the bits went, like, all the jagged bits wore flat. Yeah, SHGP Media says I'd have been up for a Daypole tour had I known.
Yeah.
But, so I'm just looking through. RG Models 86 has visited Daypole's factory earlier this year. Well worth the visit.
Absolutely, yes. Very good.
Right. Yaharic says Daypole invited the old club members. Yeah, I thought that
There you go.
I was in the Daypole club. They didn't invite me.
Check your spam folder. You know what happens.
Yeah, Hotmail is rubbish.
So, Jen, we have a few.
Okay, let's
videos.
try a few videos.
So we've got a message here from Warbler Productions.
Ooh.
It says Monday Club video. So I'm assuming this is a video for the Monday Club.
Yeah, funny that.
Oh yeah, I had to take that
I
locomotive
spotted,
off
yeah.
I think the heat.
Yeah, the heat affects the ABC section. It must be said.
Basically,
it closes
closing
up the gap.
The gap, yes.
Yeah.
Mind the gap.
Mind the gap.
Mind the gap.
Hit the lever.
So we're going to go straight to this. If I can find the button.
Yeah,
where is
hit
it?
the lever.
The small button. Yes.
Hit
Here we go.
Press the button. There we go.
Aha!
Huzzah!
I do like it when they model with the darkness.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Tanith Valaqua, Hotmail, well, maybe I'm the only person left in the world with a Hotmail account, but it doesn't work very well. It's very good at sending me the spam to my inbox and hiding legitimate emails.
Are you sure you're not just looking in the spam folder by default and you should be in the other one as the inbox?
Yeah,
That was really nice. That was
Krista
really well
Duke
done.
says, I went to Hornby and had a great time. Of course, the one-to-one collection was open for ticketed visits.
Yes.
We did have an invite, but unfortunately, it's like a 6-hour drive there and a 6-hour drive back.
It's a very difficult trip for us to make. But when we did go there, was it last year?
Last year we went because we did the Black 5 build.
That was so
It's
good.
well worth it if you're in the area. It has to be said.
It really is.
The problem we had is just because when we get to near where Heathrow is, like, so when we get onto the M25, we are a long way from home. But hold on. Yeah. So unfortunately, we're a long way from home, but we're also a long way from Hornby.
Yeah.
I often joke, Hornby HQ is closer to Paris than they are to where we are here now. So there we are. Right.
It feels sometimes with all the big manufacturers being like down south or in Wales and places like that.
Nigel Cole, behave yourself. Says, oh my God, that looks almost real. So I can't prod you, but I can prod the coloured monkey because she started that.
But it does look real.
That was your fault.
It does look real.
That was your fault.
So yeah.
Eclectic Trains wants to know how do they
send your videos
as a link? Don't attach it to your email.
I just won't even open it because if it's got an attachment on, I know it'll cause problems for the system.
It will make this struggles as it is.
So I won't open it.
Yeah.
But if you send a link to YouTube, Facebook, Flickr, wherever, to zoe.robinson@gmail.com and put Monday Club somewhere in the title, then I'll get it.
Values 56XX says, you're only 24 hours from Hornby.
I do think...
Not quite that far, but...
Thank you so much for sending this in. I think sometimes with the big manufacturers being down south or in Wales and things like that, that from our point of view, it feels like those people on those remote islands in the Pacific, who the nearest person to them is on the International Space Station.
Yeah, absolutely true. Mark Wilson says, do you know that GBRF has nicknamed the Class 99 the Flake?
Oh,
they had
love
a special day with ice creams for all the stuff. Can I say, right...
Love it.
When a model appears of it, now here's a hint for whichever manufacturer makes a model of the Class 99. Do an Easter egg, one of the sound files on the sound version, make it play the chimes from an ice cream van.
Only the crumbliest,
flakiest chocolate. Oh God! Yeah, you have to be of a certain age to remember that advert.
I think
the memory is in there. I haven't thought of that in decades.
Oh.
So, anywho, next Monday Club video. This is from.
Hang on! I have to put the link in, haven't I?
No, you haven't. So, this is from C. Bernakel. I can't see if they got the screen name on there. Says, I have attached a link to my latest video, A Day in the Life of Class 37406, the Saltire Society. This shows this particular loco in action throughout. The middle part's a running section on my main layout. Going to the dogs. So going to the dogs, your video is up. Ben Tillett says, I'm heading to a foreign country called Scotland on Thursday. They have very strange cuisine. It gets battered and deep fat fried. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's just a myth.
That's just for tourists.
That's just a myth, or if you're in certain parts of Glasgow.
I did love one thing, though. Billy Connolly, when he was talking about Scottish people, he said, you know all that tat that you normally buy as tourists?
Yeah.
We buy that as Scottish people and we give it to each other. That's our culture.
Yeah. We buy that tat and give it to tourists.
I like your housewarming. Here, have a wee Scotsman.
Aye, swearing tartan.
I love it.
Of the clan
Here
McShortbread.
McShort. What?
I don't know. I couldn't think of a Scottish name.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
That video was filmed on the first day of the school summer holiday. Shows how far behind we are. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. So this is Gun the Dogs. This day in the life. You're near Glasgow or Edinburgh, find Baines and get a macaroni cheese plant. That sounds lovely.
Yeah. I remember
Cheese pie.
going into a chippy in Ayr. I'd been on business to Ayr, and I was hungry. And I asked the place I'd been to, is there somewhere I could get something? It's a really good chip here down there. So it's like, oh, off I go. And I went down to the chippy, and I was looking on the board thinking, they've got some interesting cuisine for a chippy. And it was like, there was like Mars bars, Cadbury's cream eggs, and it said pepperoni pizza. And I thought, I kind of fancy a pepperoni pizza. I was going to have one, except the lady in front of me asked for one. They got a frozen pizza, broke it in half, dipped it in the batter, and chucked it in the deep fat fryer. And it's like, okay. And they came to me and said, what you want? And it's like, I'll have a bag of chips, please. Yeah.
Oh, it's not the same as when we were young.
Yeah.
You wander into the chip shop and just order a once.
A what? No, I used to do voiceover stuff, and that was my go-to Scottish voice.
Oh, Tom Marshall says it's a pizza crunch. Right.
Oh, actually, Frustrated Ape says pizza in batter is called a pizza scrunchie.
Scrunchy?
Yeah, apparently it's buffering again.
Look, I can't help it. We've
can't-
got fans on fans pushing air into the fans.
I like Rick Morley. Nothing is wrong with haggis. I like haggis. And actually, you could do.
Remember the Burns nights we used to go to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could have. I wonder if they do a Scotch haggis where they basically dip the haggis in batter and deep fat fry it.
Haggis is Scottish.
I know, but like.
Are you trying to double Scottish?
Yeah. It's like Scottish squared.
I
love
love
the
this
detail.
layout.
Look
Yeah.
at the attention to
The
detail.
layout
in the
is
ballast.
amazing.
And lovely.
It
Can I
really
just
is.
say, your track is lovely. Correct sleeper spacing. Anthony says you're okay, Jenny. Yeah. There we. Oh, look on message. JIA hopper wagons produced for Kernow models.
Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah.
So we have put the link in. It's a long video. However, we can't show it all, but please do, as always, visit the channels that we show off and give them a like. Tell them Jenny sent you. They might even let you back in.
Yeah, Jordan Hunter says it's a haggis fritter. Frustrated Ape says, I reckon that's Pico Bullhead track. It does look lovely. Does look lovely.
This layout is superb.
And actually, I realised we've seen this layout a lot, but not.
Did you recognise the building there as well?
No. I reckon it's the bridge. I always talk about the bridge, the scenic effect of using the bridge girders to make it look like there's a bridge. But actually, what threw me was at the start we were seeing a different part of the layout that we don't normally see. So this is great. Flymo Chairman 1 says, we accept English money up here, by the way. I think you'll find it's legal tender.
Legal tender.
Legal tender.
I still can't believe that. Like, I've said this before. It doesn't matter how good your awareness is, how many shields you put up or whatever. At some point, you will get conned. You'll get scammed by someone.
You did in Scotland, didn't you?
About to get on a train, bought a sandwich to get on the train with and a cup of tea, and they gave me £5 in change.
Except they didn't.
Except it wasn't. It was a Scottish £1 note that wasn't even in circulation anymore.
Yeah, it was a Scottish banknote that wasn't legal tender. They saw you coming.
They did, and that's what I mean. At some point in your life, you will get conned.
Oh, Richard Swiderski says, R.I.P. Daniel Postgate.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's only just been working with Rapido. Oh, see,
That's two people who've got a
just scroll back a little bit. I'm just seeing where the comment went in. CP Model Railways.
Wow.
Oh, Martin Parkinson arrived late. So
A Monday clubber is never late to the wagons, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
thanks, Gandalf and CP Model Railway. Just found your comment. Just remembering some. Oh, I
Sorry.
was going to read it, but
I'm
then
sorry.
you moved the. When you put it back, right? Just remembered something in the news this week. Small Films announced that Daniel Postgate has passed away. R.I.P. and condolences to the factory. That is really quite sad. I know he'd worked with Rapido to make either the engine really authentic. So really, really sad to hear that.
27th of June.
Oh, my word.
Goodness.
So, yeah. Right, anyway.
He wasn't that old.
How old was he?
He was only born in 64.
There's no kind of age.
No, it really isn't.
Yeah. So, anyway, would you like to move the chat back up to date?
Yeah. So, I believe what Ham Shackleton, I believe what Jenny was meaning to say was family. She has a tendency to...
Yeah, I have many different things on my brain at the same time, and the tracks tend to bleed over into each other.
Yes.
And also I have a speech impediment. Don't make fun of it.
We're not making fun of it.
Good, good, good.
So that's
thank
two
you
that we need to... An astronaut, Jim Lovell, yes.
Yes. He was played by Tom... Is he the one who was played by Tom Hanks in Apollo 13?
I think he might be.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good people passing away.
So, why not have the minute silence that we're going to have now?
Are we having it now?
Yeah.
So, we're going to have 2 minutes silence. I know at the beginning, one of the Monday Clubbers mentioned someone who was near and dear to them who had sadly passed away. And we do also want to make sure people are aware. If you're feeling depressed, you're feeling down, just remember you're not alone. There's a lot of people out there also suffer from depression. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't hide away and feel frightened of admitting it. You know, there's always people to help. So we're going to
Even when your brain tells you there aren't, your brain is lying to you.
Absolutely. So we're going to have a couple of minutes silence. So there we have it, 2 minutes silence to those who have departed us. And RG Models 86, absolutely, don't suffer in silence, talk to someone. And yeah, I know sometimes it feels really hard, sometimes nobody understands what I'm going through, but believe me, that a lot of people do, and they are always here to help. It's very, very important not to feel alone, not to feel like there's nobody you can talk to. And I speak here from a lot of experience. So that I've lost a lot of very good friends over the years to mental health issues, and indeed, I don't often talk about it, but my first fiance sadly succumbed. And even though that was 25 years ago, 25 years ago, it's, you know, it always still leaves a huge hole in your life. So, don't bottle it up. Reach out and talk to people. So, anywho, TARDIS in open wagon in yard, says Warbler Productions. Yes, the huge Blade Runner-esque algorithm is hard at work there.
Zoom and enhance.
Yeah,
Enhance. Section 14B.
TARDIS detected. TARDIS detected. There's a few gaps in the rakes of wagons. Actually, I got a few so that I could during the interview with Graeme that we had. And a huge thank you again to the guru of all things Southern, Graeme Muspratt from Kernow Model Rail Society. I actually got a few wagons out. I didn't actually use them in the end, but these were early KMRC commissions. So there we are. Bought that when it was new. One of the KMRC special commissions. Lovely, lovely wagon. It's just an interesting livery. But that's what the gaps in the tracks are. Malco Blue says, just seen a massive fireball lightning over the sea gazing out the window whilst listening to Monday Club. Never seen one before. Not something I've ever seen either. RG Models 86 says, it's going to be sad to read the Ivor story in the Rapido Ivor pack, knowing that Daniel Postgate has passed. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Frustrated Ape says, I lost my wife very suddenly last March, aged 40. That's no age at all.
It really is.
Was a total shock and later found to be genetic. Thankfully, my daughter doesn't have it. Yeah, it's, it always leaves a massive hole in your life when somebody
you never get over it.
No.
You learn to live with it.
Absolutely.
That's one thing about grief.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away. It becomes part of you.
Yeah, I mean, I lost Steffi. I think it was 2004, and it's I still think about her.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
We have time for one more video tonight, guys. It's going to be from Mike Lane at Mike Lane TT120. But before we do that, let's have a quick word from our sponsor.
The Monday Club is proudly sponsored by TMC, the Model Centre. Check them out at themodelcentre.com. The website features extensive stocks of new models as well as selective pre-owned items where you can track down that bargain you've always wanted. Pre-order with confidence all of the forthcoming models from all the manufacturers. TMC also offer a renumbering and renaming service so you can get the exact identity of locomotive that you want. Why not also check out their value weathering, or go for something incredibly special with their bespoke service where you can choose from a more extensive weathered look right through to custom graffiti either off the peg or to a design of your choice. Check out TMC today at themodelcentre.com and start your model journey. So a huge thank you to TMC, the Model Centre, where you can pre-order with confidence. And don't forget to check out that EFE Rail BZ 6-wheel luggage van. That is definitely one of the models that I'm really looking forward to. Also, we looked through some of the bargains that they've got uploaded to their bargains page. And there's some great deals there.
There really are.
The booster locomotive, EFE Rail booster locomotive, which, as we were talking to Graeme today in that really, really great interview, that was one of the locomotives that he worked on the model for. They are available, but hurry, super low stocks at TMC, the Model Centre, but better than half price. And they actually are really incredibly reliable runner. In fact, so much so, got one here. So there you are. Great, great model.
I love this layout.
I do. It's that little pond. I love the pond.
So which one is it? This is the Leviathan and Red DB Schenker Gronk.
Yeah.
The Class 50 Leviathan. My goodness.
Oh, and they've got the MDO wagons, the new TT120 MDO wagons. Those two on the back there.
I need to make a TT120 shelf layout.
Well, why don't you?
Because I'm lazy.
Thank you. You finally said the truth. Remember, it's admitting it to yourself is the thing. And yeah, great show, says Awesome Bricks. Thank you, ladies.
You're
so absolutely
much.
welcome. And yeah, RG Models 86 says, I still miss my father. He passed away back in 2018, age 68. Too young. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Beast. I always like seeing stuff like that. Geest.
Geese. Oh, the banana people.
the past tense of geese. They've geesed.
Yeah. Oh, lots of Gronk action here.
TMC says, "What's this about going back to your 3-rail roots, Jenny?"
Watch
out for Friday. And you'll
yeah,
find
Friday's video. Look out for that. I have been helping my father. So people were wondering, like, where's this? Where's this? Well, as you can see, it wasn't Weir Yard. I'm helping my father to put in a Hornby 003 rail layout. That reminds me, actually, I need to service my Hornby 00 Gronk and get that round to my father's. But yeah, I've been having great fun. I grew up with Hornby 00. I'm second generation Hornby 00 because I basically inherited my father's Hornby 00. He was first generation.
Thank you so much for sending that in, Mike.
And throughout the 1980s, Hornby 00 was great because it was plentiful and not that expensive and very high quality compared to what we had from the new manufacturers. But that's the story on that. Full video coming on Friday. Everybody loves a bit of retro goodness, so check it out. And the thing about Hornby 003 rail is it's pure fun. It's a fun toy train set.
Could I just say, I was filming Jen when she was putting this together, and normally when Jen is making a layout, she will swear a bit because things aren't quite working. And maybe get a bit huffy because things aren't quite coming out the way that she pictured in her mind. There was absolutely none of that with the 00 stuff. Jen was like a kid in a sweet shop, like, oh, I get to do this, look at this.
I love it.
She was so happy, and that's one thing that the older stuff, compared to the modern stuff...
Oh, thank you so much.
It's just so interesting to see.
Simon Pitcher very generously donated $19.99 on the Super Chat. Says, great show. All the talk of music reminds me of 10 years as a roadie. Oh, wow. So what groups? Any that we would know? I'm still amazed. Graeme was at the live show that this bad boy was recorded at. If you're wondering, like, what the heck is that? This is a genuine, and there's 4 LPs in it. This is a genuine copy of Pulse on vinyl.
I love that. A genuine copy. This is a genuine Les Paul copy.
Yeah. Okay, Lister. But it came. This is one of the reasons that I tracked this bad boy down. I wonder if we can see Graeme in the crowd. It comes with a book.
That would be amazing.
Actually,
Peter Jackson, Cheers Heath, that's one statement here. He's going to be having a look at the TMC sale now for some N-Gage stuff. I'll be there looking as well because I love N-Gage.
Yeah, there is N-Gage stuff in the TMC
he says he might need a trunk facility to hold off the delivery for a while.
There is a trunk facility at TMC.
There is, and that's why I wanted to read that out because I'm pretty sure that there is.
Absolutely.
Oh, Spelio Kia says, I need to do some procrastinating, but I keep putting it off.
What are you
That's like you and your long-awaited second album, isn't it?
What,
Procrastinator, your long-awaited second album.
Hey, can I say, there is a group that I've done bits of work with, and for a very, very long time, they had material for their second album, actually more material than ultimately got released. And I kept joking with the guy. I said, you should call your second album Procrastinator. He didn't, though.
No, he didn't, and then he stopped talking to you.
No.
It's a joke, Jake.
Hey, can I just say...
You talked to him last week, didn't you?
Yeah. I've talked to him yesterday. But no, I edited some of his videos. So places you can find videos edited by me that are not model trains. And actually, I've got plans. I has plans.
I know, because I've got the footage.
Yeah.
Right, I've got to go because Game Hammered is coming up tonight.
Yes, so if you want to get hammered with games, Game Hammer, All Request Monday is on. You will, of course, get a prompt at the end of tonight's live stream to shift on over. It's well worth doing. And you can request what retro gaming goodness that Zoe is playing. Now, did you manage to get the Wii U working for Cooking Mama?
I have the Wii U set up, and I've even managed to get the power into it. However, I cannot for the life of me get a video signal out of it. So
Oh.
I've still got a bit of issue, and I'm going to fiddle on with it. On the stream tonight, we're going to work out what's wrong.
Yeah, because I need to see you play Cooking Mama.
Yeah, I need to play Cooking Mama as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that we'll do a very, very special thing. We'll make Jenny stop talking about Cooking Mama. It'll be amazing.
Yes, it will. And look, a huge thank you again tonight to Graeme Muspratt. Really,
Yeah,
really.
seriously,
I mean,
thank you so
to be
much,
honest,
man.
the fact that we were chatting for over an hour, whereas normally it's about 3/4 of an hour.
You
at
didn't
most,
even know the time. I had to point
it
it
went
out.
so quickly. Really, really great, and really interesting to learn that he has pretty much the same musical tastes as me. So there's something we can talk about at shows. I'm so jealous that he was at Pulse. Does it show?
Yes, just a lot.
But no, I mean, if you ever get a chance to listen to Pulse, it is a great live album.
It's one of your favourites. It's one of my favourites. Right, take care, guys, and I'll see you later. But for now, from everyone here at Weir Yard and the Monday Club, are there any last words?
Oh! Gandalf! Gandalf! Hey, I just realised, Gandalf, you know there's a packet of biscuits I bought and completely forgot about downstairs.
Good night.
So, as Gandalf rushes off, then it's just got time for us to say thank you all for watching. It's been absolutely great having your company. Until next time, this is me, Jenny Kirk, saying you take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now.
I think we... Oh, there it is. The train now departing is the 2106 service to Boxton-on-Fyle, stopping at Bolton Trinity Road, Grove Street Yard, Myneth Tatis, Tatis Newydd, Myneth Tatis Newydd. Not on the name layout that Jenny said had a name and it turned out it didn't have a name. Huggleton on the Hill, Eindhoven, Pittsburgh somehow, Ulster change at 3 cocks for Lord Hereford's Knob, and then on to Boxton Junction before finally arriving at Boxton-on-Fyle. That's the 2106 service to Boxton-on-Fyle.
Don't forget, everybody, to pick up your Monday Club badge and wear it with pride. We do have very, very limited numbers of the green and also the maroon badges. What we suggest is you need to drop an email to zoe.robinson@gmail.com.
Yeah, they're
with
very, very limited.
badges in the title, and just agree with Zoe first, and then you'll be able to order other coloured badges. Anybody who's after the blue badges, absolutely all gone. The very last ones disappeared several weeks ago.
Yep,
that
we
we
found
found
some-
them in a box. We sold them within minutes.
Yep.
I think it was like 23 minutes, and somebody said, I'll have them.
Yep. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
So,
Are you going?
yes, if you go back to the loft today, you're sure of a big surprise.
If you
Go
go to the loft today, you'll never believe your eyes.
But every train there ever was has gathered there together because today's the day that Jenny does the Monday Club. Good night.
Is that a tumble of clowns are in? Yay! Goodbye, tumble of clowns. Oh, who gave them the General Lee? Remember, it's funny when it's a small car with lots of clowns. It doesn't work with a big car.
Yeah, one clown coming out of a big, really big car isn't as funny.
Yeah.
Good night.
Yeah, Ben Tuller, new cap, it's the only way to go. And I will be eventually. I know I've been saying all summer that I'm going to redevelop Jablite Mountain, but that is coming. And to be honest, I think it's going to end up being an over the winter project because it does get so hot up here. So enjoy this scene with the Jaguar because it will be getting redeveloped. I haven't decided quite how extensively I'm going to redo the foreground terrain. But what I may be doing is that baseboard, the entire baseboard that you see there, mountain and all, I may be stripping it back to bare baseboards, starting again. If anybody's wondering, the Chugga Chugga steam locomotive is a Robinson 04, a recently fitted sound to quite a few locomotives, and that was one of them. Actually, I fitted 2 Robinson 04s with sound profiles. And yeah, Ben Tullett says exciting Jablite 2.0. And I'll be honest, it needs a proper name. Jablite Mountain is just a nickname, but it never got a proper name. And yes, Flymo Chairman 1, it will probably be a short series. So, I'm just getting word that the Cupboard Monkey is just going live. So, right at the point I'm leaning over the layout to put the Kernow Model Centre exclusives back on the track. Just got time for me to say, you guys take great care. It's been an absolute honour having your company, and thank you again to Graeme for coming on the show. It was a great interview. But until next time, you guys take great care of yourself. Happy modelling. Bye for now.